Hey there, welcome to Main Street Living. I'm Cheryl Nelson.
Hey guys, I'm Quincy Carr.
And I'm Danielle Alvari.
Good to see you guys. Quincy, Danielle, I can't believe that the official start to summer is right around the corner and people are getting out and about, taking part in activities again, seeing family and friends. What is your favorite thing about summer?
I can tell you off the top, I know I'm going to have to get on the grill at least once or twice, which I don't like doing, but because the cruise ships will be coming back every now and again, I take my family on a cruise with me, and we love to, just travel and enjoy. But personally, as a guy, my car, I can take the top off of my car and I can just let the wind blow through this beautiful hair right here.
You're getting a great image here, Quincy.
I love it. I can take the top off and just drive and just enjoy the open road. The only bad part is I smell like the air that I drove through when I come home. So,
Well, hopefully it's clean air. I don't know where you're driving, but I didn't know you had a convertible.
Through the tunnel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. How about you? How about you, ladies?
For me, I'm really excited because as we have talked about before, things are starting to open back up and things are going back to capacity. And one of those things is sporting events, which you guys know, of course, I love. I do love to watch sports on TV, but I've had enough of it. I'm ready to get back out there. It'd be nice to go to a baseball game, especially, and just spend the day outdoors. I actually love going to used to be AT&T Park, but now it's Oracle Park to see the Giants play in the Bay Area in my hometown. So that's definitely something fun for me. And I also really love getting out just and exploring the areas around me. And now that I'm in Las Vegas, I'm a little bit closer to Bryce Canyon and even Zion National Park. And I've been there before, but I just really can't wait to get back out there. There's a lot to see at Zion, especially. And so I'd love to go back and kind of explore the area around me. Cheryl, what about you?
Yeah, it's so interesting that you said Zion, especially because I think Bryce Canyon, especially. Bryce Canyon is hands down my favorite national park. Oh, it's just so cool. The hoodoo figures there.
It's worth seeing more than once for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to go back there. And you guys know me, obviously, travel is huge. For me, I love doing that in the summer, flying places on airplanes and whatnot. But something you might or may know about me is I also love visiting wineries and tasting some local wines. And so I did that recently. Hush, I can hear the sarcasm in your voice, Quincy. But yeah, recently I did that in Central Virginia. A couple wineries, had some good girl time with some friends from high school. And it was really a lot of fun. You guys like wineries too?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about wineries. I'm sorry.
We will have to take you on a wine tasting journey. I think we'll have to do that maybe on an upcoming segment of Main Street Living. But speaking of that, we have another great show planned for you today. In fact, we have the latest information about the COVID-19 vaccines and tips to help your pets adjust when you go back to the office.
That is right, Cheryl. And we're also visiting Tulsa, Oklahoma to heal and remember the past, while also getting some helpful tips for the parents out there.
Absolutely. And we get to meet some superheroes from Comic Care. But first, last year, a lot of celebrations we didn't get to actually do. So we need some do-overs. And we're heading to sunny San Diego to finally get to do those celebrations. You don't want to miss it right here on Main Street Living.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. As the entire world hit pause during 2020, many important life celebrations like birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, family reunions, and more had to be canceled or postponed, guys. But finally, things are looking up.
Yes, travel restrictions are continuing to lift, safety protocols are set in place, and it's finally time to hit the reset button. So joining us today on Main Street Living, we have Candice Ely here to tell us all why San Diego is the perfect place to host our do-over celebrations. Welcome to the show, Candice. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Okay, so there needs to be a lot of do-overs this year for all the milestones we had to spend alone. How is San Diego prepping to host all of those do-overs?
Well, we've been really fortunate that a lot of our businesses have been able to stay open, but at limited capacity. And as things are opening up now, the businesses have been able to really fine tune their safety procedures. We're expanding capacity as the whole COVID situation continues to improve and people are getting vaccinated. And then, the other nice thing is we're heading into summer and we're heading into some amazing weather, with a destination that has a lot of outdoor opportunities, whether it's, rooftop restaurants or beautiful parks where you can go have a special picnic. We're just going to be in the prime time of year for some celebrating.
Okay, so let's go through some of the options that you have for things that we might want to do. Or let's say we missed a family reunion in 2020. Like, what are some of the great options in San Diego for a makeup reunion?
Yeah, family reunions, San Diego is a great destination because we have so much to offer for every generation. The attractions, of course, that appeal to kids, they've all got some new offerings coming on board. The San Diego Zoo is opening up their Komodo kingdom, so you get to see some really impressive big lizards that you can check out. The Legoland California Resort, they've got some new offerings coming online, and then the zoo also has their nighttime zoo in the summer. So it's going to be a great, those experiences, of course, the kids love them, but they're great for the adults too. And then we've got, our great craft breweries. So a lot of them are family friendly. You can have, a really great experience where the adults are going to enjoy the food and beverages as much as the kids are going to enjoy, playing on the lawn. And then, of course, just hanging at the beach is always a great activity for any family. And maybe you head out on the sailing tour and book a private charter with one of our local boat companies. That would be an amazing activity for a family to do together.
Absolutely. I mean, my brother and sister-in-law live in San Diego and they love going to the zoo. They were like members when everything was still open. So I'm sure they can't wait to get back out there. I can't wait to visit. It's one of my favorite locations. What if you missed a birthday celebration? What does San Diego offer for a birthday do-over?
I think that's an area where our rooftop restaurants and bars really are an amazing spot to have a birthday celebration. A lot of them have private dining areas that you can set up and, have a party, whether it's going to be, just a couple of your closest friends or maybe, your whole friend group that's all finally gotten vaccinated and you're ready to have a big gathering again. The places downtown and Little Italy, they've done some amazing al fresco options from rooftops to even just, outdoor seating right in the middle of India Street or Fifth Avenue. So the celebration vibe there is very strong and you can raise a glass and reconnect with all of the people that you've been missing from the last year.
Right. And speaking of reconnecting, some people got married or some people were only married for a year before the pandemic. So what are the options for couples who may have missed their anniversary or even a honeymoon?
Yeah, it's definitely time for a honeymoon do-over for a lot of people. If you just went down to the courthouse maybe and didn't get to do the big romantic getaway that you were thinking about, we've got, there's nothing more romantic than the coastline, those waterfront restaurants where you can sit and watch the sunset like George's at the Cove or the Marine Room. They do their brunch where during high tide, the waves crash up against the window. Yeah. That restaurant is actually famous for people getting engaged there. So it's romantic.
Yeah.
And then, there's some really fun things like the Gondola Company in Coronado, which does gondola rides through the Coronado Cays. I mean, that's a super romantic experience for sure. And then we've got some great spas too for some couples massages. It's really the wealth of options is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. So just what is the current situation in San Diego in terms of COVID restrictions?
Yeah, we're approaching June 15th when the state of California is going to be easing up restrictions and you're going to see a lot more opening up at that point. But even right now, in San Diego, vaccination rates are high. Case rates for COVID are low. Our businesses have been doing a really good job keeping people safe. So at this point, most businesses are open and operating. It just might be at a slightly reduced capacity. So it's, we encourage everyone, if you're planning to go to a restaurant, if you're planning to go to an attraction, make sure you check in with them first to find out if you need an advanced reservation, because those reservations are booking up quickly.
Oh, Candice, speaking of like reservations, I understand that you guys got a country fair that's happening this year. Is that right?
Yeah, the San Diego County Fair, it's a summer tradition. but it couldn't happen last year. It's back this year. So, it's the theme this year is homegrown fun, and that's happening June 11th through July 4th. So it's coming up real soon.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool to me. Now, I'm nowhere near California, but if I know I was there, I mean, that's something that I know my daughter loves going. There's the carnival rides and all types of stuff too. So
all kinds of fun foods is usually a big attraction. Lots of, inventive fair foods. That's always a fun one.
Funnel cake.
Funnel cake. Yeah, who doesn't love a funnel cake?
Yeah, and I know they couldn't do a lot of the music festivals last year, Coachella, and you guys probably have a Ferris wheel, so you could get your little Ferris wheel picture in as well.
Yeah,
so lots of fun things to do. How can viewers find more information about what's happening in San Diego this summer?
You can head to sandiego.org and even head directly to sandiego.org/summer, and that's going to take you right to our summer page that shows you all of the different options for activities, for events that are coming up. You can also follow our social media channels at Visit San Diego. We're constantly updating with, the fun things that are coming up around the corner. So keep an eye on all those channels.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Candice, for stopping by once again. Can't wait to visit San Diego.
Hope we see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Danielle, I can tell you we are healing all over this country as it is reopening. And when we come back, we get to see some healing in the form of a new exhibit to remember our past. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back into Main Street Living. Quincy, Cheryl, if you're anything like our audience, I'm sure that we're all looking forward to just moving forward, starting to look towards the future. But it's also important that we always take some time to remember our past as well.
Mm-hmm. So true, Danielle. In fact, this year marks the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre, where a prosperous Black neighborhood named Greenwood was burned down to the ground by white mobs and hundreds of people were killed. Now, the commemoration has included public events and efforts to raise awareness, and in a few days, a permanent museum space will open up as well.
That's right, Quincy. And Greenwood Rising is being built as the world-class history center that honors the icons of Black Wall Street, memorializes the victims of the massacre, and examines the lessons of the past to inspire meaningful, sustainable action today. Take a look.
Greenwood Rising is a state-of-the-art, museum-grade facility that is designed to educate, enlighten, and inform all citizens, whether Tulsa, Oklahoma, or from around the world, on the community that we refer to as Greenwood or Black Wall Street. It's called Greenwood Rising, the Black Wall Street History Center. An 11,000 square foot facility that is being constructed right at the corner of the historic Greenwood and Archer Avenue intersection. So the opportunity to build this history center right at that corner just has an incredible amount of historical significance.
The impact of the project of Greenwood Rising and the revitalization of Greenwood will be significant. I believe that what we are looking at are people are going to be coming here from a respective tourism to see this sacred space. People died on this land and gave their lives to something that was racial in nature. We're still dealing with and suffering from a lot of racial issues today. So there'll be that powerful impact that people will want to put their feet on this hallowed ground.
So Greenwood Rising really is going to be a place for healing from racial trauma, healing of broken relationships between different groups of people. For every person that comes through Greenwood Rising, whether they're Black, whether they're white, whether they're a person of color, whether they're a person of influence, whether they're highly educated or not. Every person that comes through this are going to learn and experience the history and the story.
Wow, Cheryl and Danielle, I can tell you, like seeing this is so good for the history books, because it's not in our history books. A lot of people never knew about this. They don't talk about this in school. In Greenwood, you know, the Black Wall Street, that's not the only massacre that happened in this country. So my thing is, you know, we're really big on remembering things that happen nationally when someone outside invades the country. But what happens about remembering when we're doing what we're doing to our own Americans? So I can certainly appreciate Tulsa for doing this. And the important mission of Greenwood Rising is to allow visitors to commit to racial justice and reconciliation, and to educate the youth of tomorrow on race relations, of course.
Absolutely. And you can find more information at greenwoodrising.org.
Stick with us. Coming up, we're going to be talking to an expert to find out if our pets are going to be lonely when we go back to work. You don't want to miss it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, Cheryl, Danielle, while not everyone was pleased with the work from home arrangements during the pandemic, I can bet that our pets truly enjoyed having us around all the time, right?
Oh, yes, I know it's been so nice, but as many areas start to reopen, many pet owners will soon return to work in an office, leaving pets alone for the first time in many months. Now, the switch may pose challenges for us humans and also our pets. And Dr. Gary Weitzman from the San Diego Humane Society has some tips to make a smooth transition. Welcome to Main Street Living.
Thank you. Good to see you guys again.
Good to see you again. So a lot of us have adopted new pets this past year. So the animals have never really known a situation where they are left alone all day. How do you think they are going to be able to adjust?
You know, I think they're probably going to adjust better than we are, to be perfectly honest. I got a pandemic pup myself during the pandemic, and she's about a year old now. And, I'm lucky that I get to take her to work, but so many people don't get to do that. So here's a couple things that we think are going to possibly happen. Their routines are going to be disrupted. And we all know pets love routines. We do too. So there are things you can do to actually make that transition easier for them. And we just encourage people to do it. But the biggest thing is, when you are home, when you are able to be with your pets, make sure you give them the most enriched life and experience possible. Take them for walks, get your dog walker back. It's time. Help the economy, help your pets, help your own life. Get your dog walkers back, even a cat sitter if you want. Bring somebody into the house to actually sit with your cats for 30 minutes if your cat's like that. But it's really the dogs. It's hard for them to go from being with us 24/7 to having 8 or 9 hours away from us.
Oh.
Absolutely. And those are all really great ideas to help our pets kind of transition out of this work from home if some of us are going back into the office. What about pet daycare? Is that kind of a good way to soften the change?
It's an excellent way to soften the change. And so many of us did that before. If you happen to have a dog, mostly dog food at daycare, that likes other dogs, by all means, give your dog a break. Even if it's not every day, 2 days a week, even 1 day a week in pet daycare is a great idea. The exhausted dog is the happy dog. That's the basic rule of thumb in behavior. So if you can have someone do it while you're at work and do daycare, that is a win-win for everybody, especially your dog. The more you can do it, the better.
So that's one thing to look out for. See if they're exhausted from playing all day. Are there any other signs we should look out for with our animals to make sure they're handling the transition okay?
Sure. We've all been worried for about 6 months at least. A couple of things. Returns to animal shelters from people that did get animals during the pandemic. And it's turned out that the returns are actually lower. Here at my organization, San Diego Humane, very much like the rest of the country, our returns are down about 20% versus the year before the pandemic. So people are holding on to their animals, and we want them to continue to do that. But there are things to look out for if your dog or your cat or your bunny or anybody else is getting stressed. And that is panting, behavior changes, such as maybe a little bit of destruction around the house, looking stressed, not eating. All of those things are signs that your dog or cat may not be transitioning well into the new world we're about to enter. And you can mitigate almost all of that by more attention to them, by getting them prepared for you going back to work. And that might mean start going out for just a few minutes. Get in your car, leave, come back, but don't make it a big deal when you come back in, because all that does is set up your animal for, oh my God, I can't wait till they come back. You just want to come back in and just say, hi, Rosie, hi, Betty, my two dogs, and just leave it at that and just walk into the kitchen, something like that. So make things seem normal.
Play it cool.
Yeah, play it cool. It's time.
I need to get better at that because I'm always loving and kissing my cats when I come home. So
right. One of the biggest things, though, is if you are having difficulties, reach out to your local animal shelter. We have, for instance, at San Diego Humane, we have a big behavior department. We want to hear from people that are we don't want them to have challenges, but we want to be able to help. And there are so many things you can do to help your dog or your cat or your bunny or your chinchilla do better while you are going back to work. The other thing, too, is maybe talk to your boss about a hybrid situation. Keep a few of those days at home. I think that would be good for everybody's mental wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are such a great resource, obviously, or wherever your Humane Society is as well for our viewers. What are some things that we need to watch out that we're doing that could add maybe to our pet stress?
Yeah, I think it's, we tend to get more tired when we're at work. So coming back home, you still got to give that time to your pets. And it's hard. You got to make dinner or bring dinner in and set it up and all that. Our lives are changing. We're getting into new routines. So the two things that I would say is don't forget your babies at home, your fur babies. Take care of them, give them the attention, exercise, enrichment that they need, but also start to create a new routine, because routine is the basis for success with pets. So the new routine will be just as well embraced as the old one. Maybe we'd all like to be home with our pets a little bit more. But once you have a routine, I think everybody's going to do better.
Yeah, I love the snuggles with my cat. Sometimes them, not so much, but it's one thing that I love to do. So I have to make sure to give them a little bit of space too.
Absolutely.
And finally, I know you have something called the Pet Lover's Guide. What's in it?
Yeah, well, it's a short version of, short by 100 pages of a longer book that National Geographic and I did together a few years ago called The Pet Lover's Guide to Animal Pet Behavior, Happiness, and Health. And the short guide is about 90 pages. And just, it's a summary really of all the things you need to know to have your pets have a good life, I hope. A few of the main illnesses they can get, how to do emergency care, how to enrich their lives, how to look at dog food and cat food, all of those things. And hopefully it'll help people with the transition.
It's so important. I always say being prepared is key. And I'm trained in pet CPR and first aid. I think that's something every pet owner should know how to do.
Absolutely.
And if people are in the San Diego area, where can they get more information about you guys?
sdhumane.org or San Diego Humane. Just go on the web. We'll be right there. And we'd love to hear from as many people as possible.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You guys too. Enjoy your pets.
I will.
All right. This is just making me want a dog more than ever. But even though we do feel like our pets kind of save our day sometimes, next up, we're going to get to visit with some of the best kinds of superheroes. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Quincy, I think we've all been there, or if we haven't, know someone who has, and I'm talking about spending time in the hospital. It's never fun, no matter how old you are.
You are absolutely correct, Cheryl. I know hospital stays for adults are tough, but for kids, it's even tougher. In fact, some of you may be in luck because extraordinary characters in Arizona, well, they're using their superhero powers to brighten up the days of the young patients. You guys got to check this out.
What Common Care is and what we do? Well, it's really simple. We deliver comic books to children in hospitals.
We are Banner Thunderbird.
And what we're doing.
Amazing Common Care, all of these amazing superheroes. We're putting some smiles on some kids' faces.
Comic Care started about 5 years ago. We started very small. It was just a handful of people, and I was the only superhero at the time. Since then, we've added 8 superheroes, and we have close to 20 people working behind the scenes at Comic Care. People have been so generous to us. They donate their comic book collections. And when I say collections, I mean it, not just a handful of comics. We have people donating thousands and thousands of comic books to us. We started out with 1 box of comic books, and each child would get a comic book and a sticker 5 years ago. And now we have close to 150,000 comic books in our storage facility. And every time that we get a chance to give those comic books out to children, it's really something that we're really thankful for the opportunity to do it. When we walk into a room and a child looks up at you and just lights up, there's nothing better than that. I mean, it feels like, I guess that's what it would feel like to actually be the character. But you walk into a room and sometimes we get all kinds of different reactions. I realized right away that what we were doing wasn't just for the kids that we were visiting. The siblings are there day after day for hours at a time. The mom's there, the dad's there. I make sure if the parents like comic books, they get comic books. If I find out that they have younger siblings, I'll say, you mind if I just leave some comic books for them? And we'll leave comic books for them. Not only do we get great reactions from the children and the families, but when we walk in, the staff here is just amazing. It's so fun that they come up and some of them will come up and real casual, like, hey, can I get a picture with you? It's for my kid. I'm like, yeah, sure, come on over. But you can tell, I mean, they get almost as excited as the kids do. In some cases, they get more excited than the kids do. But we have a lot of fun. And honestly, whenever we post pictures of them, we always say, these are the real heroes. They're the ones that are in here day after day helping these children. And the child life specialists that we work with are just amazing people. They're trying to get the same smiles that we do, but they do it every single day. People can, if they're interested in helping us with comic books, they can reach out to us at comiccare.org or reach out to us on Comic Care on Facebook or Instagram. Other ways that people can help us, honestly, getting the word out. If you know somebody, heaven forbid, has a child that could use a visit, please reach out to us because the word of mouth is how we get most of our visits. Really, if someone really wants to help us, if you see a post, just share it on your page. We really appreciate it.
Wow. Now, the guy that's playing Tony Stark or that's dressed up as Tony, he really looked like him. And I understand his name is Tony. So that's pretty cool.
There you go. And I feel like they enjoy dressing up in those costumes as much as the kids love seeing them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Obviously. Yeah. Well, you can find more information about Comic Care and how you can donate your old comic books to help their mission at comiccare.org. But don't go anywhere. Something we learned from superheroes. Sometimes we really want to hit something, but we shouldn't. Welcome back into Main Street Living. Quincy, Cheryl, I was thinking about an old saying that goes, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I mean, that's the kind of job we all want.
Love that.
Yeah, well, unless you're a parent like myself, because trying to raise humans is a really hard job, right? So we can certainly use all the expert advice that we can get. And our next guest is a psychologist and expert on child development. And she's got a new book out that she's releasing soon to help out toddlers and their parents. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Kara Goodwin. How are you doing, Kara?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, great to have you back on the show again. Now you've got a website and a blog that's called Parenting Translator. Okay, now what is the goal of the blog and what kind of information is on there?
So my goal is really to take the scientific research that, is coming out all the time and to translate that information into something that is useful and accurate, that parents can use to make parenting just a little bit easier.
Yeah. Well,
right.
all of that can help me. I know that.
Yeah, definitely. And you have a brand new book as well, and it's called What to Do When You Feel Like Hitting,
Yes.
focused on toddlers, which I know can be challenging for both kids and parents. So why did you want to focus on that age in particular?
Yeah, so toddlers are a really interesting age because, as any parent knows, you have this sweet little baby, and then all of a sudden they start pushing back and showing things like aggression. And I think as parents, a lot of times it's hard to realize what to do in that situation because it's maybe the first challenge you faced as a parent. And toddlers have, they have big feelings, they have big opinions, but they're lacking the problem solving strategies and the coping skills to be able to deal with them in an effective way. So I think it's really a chance, to really help it's an age at which we can really help them to learn self-regulation and emotional regulation. So I think that there's a chance to make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Dr. Kara, I think the real question is why? Why do toddlers react by hitting? Is this a common thing?
Yes, it's extremely common. So, research shows that most toddlers are going to engage in some kind of aggression. So know that, there is nothing wrong with your child. This is a natural developmental stage. And a lot of the reason is because these, toddlers lack the skills. So if you think about it as a lack of skills rather than, oh my gosh, what's wrong with my parenting? What's wrong with my child? I think that really helps, helps you to manage it better as a parent if you have that perspective. And a lot of it just has to do with their brain development, and they're just not there yet to be able to use more effective strategies.
And I know it's got to be tough for parents to try to deal with this while trying to stay sane themselves. So in the book, you have some strategies. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so some strategies I have in the book. So the premise behind the book is what to do when you feel like hitting. So rather than just telling children, don't hit, the idea is to give them some behaviors that they can do instead that are more adaptive and more appropriate for the situation. So some examples might be engaging in deep breathing, which we know helps to calm the body, and then allow them to calm down enough to think through another strategy. Another strategy, which I find is really effective, is going to a calm down space. So, creating a spot in your home where they can kind of get away from the situation and learn to calm their body down in a separate space. And you could have materials there that help them calm down. And finally, a strategy is using their words instead of hitting or engaging in other sorts of aggression. So sometimes it's as simple as teaching them how to say, I need help. And that can help reduce hitting and other forms of aggression.
Okay. Yeah. So, I know the book itself is not really for toddlers, or is it for the parents teaching?
Great question. Yeah, great question. I really think it's for both. The book is designed to be read to toddlers by parents, but I think as parents, we need some ideas for what can I suggest for my child to do instead of hitting. And I think that the book hopefully will help give parents some ideas. And I do include, a note to parents in the back of the book that will give some additional strategies for how do you deal with these behaviors. Yeah,
that's what I was wondering too, when we're talking about these strategies. And I know for toddlers, it's got to be hard. How do these kids really regulate their feelings? I mean, is that something that they're capable of doing at that age?
Yeah. So young toddlers, obviously it's a work in progress. When you think of a baby, they are incapable of regulating their emotions, and it's really up to the parent. So the job of toddlerhood is really, we're passing the reins of emotional regulation from us to our children. So slowly and gradually, we want our children to take over that process. And a big goal of my book is to give children some strategies for how they can start learning some tools for emotional regulation.
Sounds super. Now, where can viewers get a copy of your book when it comes out?
So on Amazon, if you search for What to Do When You Feel Like Hitting, or you can go to my website, which is parentingtranslator.com/book. And you can order it from a lot of different book retailers there.
Awesome. Well, we certainly appreciate you stopping by, Dr. Kara. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
All right.
All right. Good stuff there. I know, Quincy, we are always trying to deal with something. And you as a parent, you've been through that. So I'm sure that book will be helpful to
Yes.
a lot of people. Well, coming up on Main Street Living, we have the latest information on the COVID-19 vaccines. So stick around. You don't want to miss this.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Ladies, nearly 300 million Americans have received the COVID vaccine. I'm one of them myself. Together, I know that we are on our way to ending the pandemic, I hope.
That's right. But a lot of people still have a lot of questions about the vaccine, and there's lots of great places to get some good information. Take a look.
The vaccines do a great job of teaching your body or teaching your immune system how to recognize and fight the virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to stimulate your immune system to produce antibodies that can fight off the real disease. So the vaccines, none of the 3 vaccines that are readily available to us actually have COVID, the virus in them. They just help our bodies recognize when COVID presents itself so that our bodies are ready to fight against it. So the vaccines are extremely safe. We've had millions of individuals that have received the vaccines, and these vaccines have gone through the most rigorous testing, gone through several phases of trials, and many patients and many individuals have received the vaccine without any side effects. So like many vaccines, there are some side effects, but most people do very well with them. The things that we tend to see most often, you may have a sore arm after receiving the vaccine. You may have some muscle aches. Some people develop fever or some mild body aches, but most of those symptoms tend to go away within the first 24 to 72 hours. So first day to 3 days. So for people who have pre-existing medical conditions, we often suggest that they are the first in line to get the vaccine because it helps protect them against the risk of having severe disease. So most people who have significant medical conditions should get the vaccine. But if you do have questions, or if someone does have questions, they should definitely talk with the healthcare provider. So as of today, we have received verification through the CDC and FDA that individuals that are 12 years and older can be vaccinated. There are distinctions as to which vaccines that they can receive. So those that are 12 to 17 can receive the Pfizer vaccine, and those that are 18 and older can receive the Johnson & Johnson or the Moderna vaccine. California has strict laws around how personal information is being used for vaccines, and California negotiated with the federal government to limit the required data to share to only information that will not allow an individual to be identified. So there are many different places where you can get a vaccine at this point. You can go to your local community health center where they're vaccinating patients and community members. You can go to local health organizations and pharmacies. And you can also look to myturn.ca.gov or call the COVID-19 hotline at 1-833-422-4255. So everyone getting vaccinated can help end the pandemic by protecting us against new variants, providing protection for the whole community. And with that, we have the power to end the pandemic.
Good information there. And if you are in California, you can get information about the vaccine and where to get your shot at myturn.ca.gov. And no matter where you are in the country, you can always go to cdc.gov. Well, don't go anywhere. We have a lot more ahead on Main Street Living. Stay with us.
Welcome back into Main Street Living. You made it to the end of the show. It's time to wrap up another great show, and it's almost time to just sit, relax, and get a glass of wine.
Oh, yeah, I'm all about that.
Cheryl's favorite.
Yeah, so now Cheryl's got Danielle wanting wine. Okay, so the show is over. Now I'm curious, where would you take me to in Virginia to a winery?
Well, there's so many wineries in Virginia. The one I had the picture of was Sod Creek Vineyard. It's between Richmond and Williamsburg. Just nice, beautiful building, upscale, gorgeous fields, nice view. So I'd probably start you out there. And then I know we've got plenty of them in the Shenandoah Valley. And then we could go out to California to Napa Valley. Got the whole thing planned.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Let's take baby steps, but you guys can always continue to catch us and catch all of our episodes on our Cox Contour app as well. So
yeah, make sure you do that. And of course, we always have brand new episodes of Main Street Living weekdays at 9 p.m. local time. So make sure you join us then as we take another stroll down Main Street.